This will bridge the financing gap to catalyze economic recovery. The Uganda's National Development Plan 3 highlights, among others, manufacturing and tourism as the key primary growth sectors that have developed multiplier effects. This requires critical focus. The manufacturing sector accounted for 14.1% of the total bank lending in 2007 and dropped to 13.1% of the total bank lending by the end of September 2021. Uganda Bankers Association attributes this to high interest rates both in the three sectors, hence forcing most of the business players out.
Three sectors are key, critical in the economy, like he said, because of their multiplier effects across manufacturing, tourism, and agribusiness. But like she asked, first of all, interest rates have been high and not competitive. And in your own analysis, the trend has been dropping in terms of portfolio exposure to the manufacturing sector. In the past, if you looked at all the sectors, there has been a corresponding increase in financing trade compared to manufacturing. However, the COVID pandemic brought out certain things because we are heavily reliant on importation. When the supply chains were blocked and we couldn't trade as much, it became clear that we need to rely on domestic manufacturing to drive growth.
According to the data from the Uganda Bank Association, direct loan manufacturing exposure to financial institutions regulated by the Bank of Uganda currently stands at 2.4 trillion, or 3.1% of the total loan exposure. During the annual Bankers Conference, the Deputy Governor Bank of Uganda, Michael Ating Ego, says that they will consider how banking sector can stimulate productivity growth to boost overall growth.
Today and tomorrow's conference sessions will consider how bank financing can stimulate productivity growth and high-value exports to boost overall growth and forex inflows. We also urge the banking sector to finance enterprises and activities that preserve and protect the environment so as to manage the associated climate risk.
Beyond the thinking of the past, how do we support these sectors? How do we make pricing, address the issue of pricing? And you heard our chair today in our opening remarks speak about the 1 trillion shillings export facility, that the regional export facility we are working on. And the whole idea is to bring other players together with the banks so that we form a consortium. And what that does, it addresses risk, it brings in people with cheaper sources of funding, and we put them together in a pool. That way, the lending rate for that facility will be much lower. The terms and conditions will be structured and customized to support manufacturers' export. That's the whole objective. So hear me clearly. The pricing that you talked about will be much more competitive. It will be a structured trade facility to enable our manufacturers then export.
The hospitality and tourism sector is a major source of employment, revenue and foreign exchange earnings. The sector accounts for 7.8% of the GDP and 6.7% of the total employment, creating close to 700,000 jobs. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.